Do you see this? She just has to come and sit. You see yourself on that camera? You're such a baby. Hey everybody, I'm Catherine and I'm here today with a book review. So today's book is an awesome, first of all, thank you to Abbi Glines and Simon Pulse for allowing me to read this book before it came out in paperback. It is already available on ebook on Amazon if you want to go ahead and check it out, but personally, since I need to have it physically on my shelf, I need to wait. So, being the impatient person I am, thank you for allowing me to read it well before it came out in paperback. So the book in question is Bad for You by Abbi Glines. This one actually comes out the 26th of May, so next week while I'm in New York. Hopefully I'll be able to get a copy of it while I'm there. I mean, I've already read it, but that's not the point. The point is I'll have a copy from a shelf and it'll look beautiful. Beautiful. Bad for You is first and foremost a romance new adult book. I almost said video. That'd be so wrong. So wrong. Now, it is the 7th book in the Seabreeze series, and I actually read it out of order because Edelweiss approved book 8 first, which was Hold On Tight, which the review for that is actually coming up tomorrow. Going into this book, I did, of course, already know that they end up how they end up. I don't want to ruin it for you. I mean, there's always the possibility of a not happy ending. You know what I mean? First and foremost, I found this book really psychologically fascinating. I was reading it at a time where I was really getting into my psychology courses and the lectures that we were doing and all of the readings. So when I was reading this, not only did I connect with Blythe, the main female character, on this like emotional, personal level, in some ways, but I also really found her so psychologically fascinating to read. Like, I just wanted to study her. Do you know what I mean? This book is about Blythe, as I mentioned, and about Crit, who is Triss's little brother, friends with all the guys from the previous book, and is the lead singer in the band Jack Down that plays at their local hangout spot in Seabreeze. So you've seen Crit a lot. He's been one of those very notorious player types. I believe he was in the relationship with Jess before she met Jason and he treated her poorly, so he doesn't have the greatest track record going into this. Then we have Blythe. Blythe comes from a very unhappy home. Her parents died when she was really little, so she was taken in by her pastor and his wife needed like pills or something. This woman was horrible. And the preacher, you think being a man of God would, you know, have a godly wife, but no. And he didn't do anything to help. So yeah, Blythe did not have a good childhood. So our story really starts when Blythe moves to Seabreeze to go to college and moves into the apartment below Crit and his roommate Green. Now, as you can guess, moving into an apartment below a bunch of rock stars, yeah. The story really just builds up from there. We see Blythe, who, despite all of this psychological abuse and some physical abuse, is still this like genuinely nice, caring, very church-oriented person. And we have Crit, who's tattooed and, you know, a man whore and sings awesomely and has groupies, and yeah, you would think they would never, ever, but opposites usually do attract, so there's that. I enjoyed the transformation that I saw within Blythe in this book. You really see her, she is so naive throughout the entire book, really. But you really see her come into herself. She is, for the first time, really alone and out there in the world, and she's finally pursuing her passion, which is writing, and you see her as this aspiring writer, which is awesome. I love when there's characters like this in a book that you can just kind of like relate to on that like reading blog level. You also see Crit really coming into being kind of like a real man. You see him where he's no longer just caring about himself. He becomes less narcissistic. He starts to actually genuinely care about someone who's not already really close to him and family in his mind. Thanks for that. So it's a very interesting dynamic between the duo for sure. Of course, I did find the story relatively predictable. I mean, I kind of saw it coming from the end. I saw the big twist coming, which, okay, you're stepping on my iPad, which I'm sure some people definitely wouldn't necessarily think of. I think I've just read too many of these books that I kind of just veer off and think like, what's the most fucked up thing that could happen? And it happens. But I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I loved every minute of it. I loved being able to dive back into the world of Seabreeze. Of course, since I did read the book before this, before I read this one, I mean, I kind of knew what was also going to happen. The big twist wasn't discussed in the previous book, but yeah, I mean, you know how things go. I loved this couple together from the beginning. I loved the fact that Crit was so eager to please and that Blythe was as well. The only thing I didn't particularly care about Blythe was the fact that she was continually trying to prove herself almost. Like, she was always just being like too good and too nice. And it wasn't until she finally actually started kind of taking things onto herself and being like, no, like, this is about me, I need to live my life, that I really started to like her more on that personal level. That being said, I mean, she's such a good, kind character, you can't not really like her. Well, since I have a 20-pound dog in my lap and I'm sitting cross-legged on the floor, I can't feel my feet anymore. So I think I am done with this review for today. Thank you for tuning in to the 7th day of my summer Abbi Glines Sea Breeze Romance Beach Read series. Whatever I'm calling it today. Anyway, stay tuned tomorrow for the next book in the series and for the remainder of the month for a video every day, which, despite having sometimes uploaded a couple hours late, I have done a video every day, so I'm actually quite proud of myself. Now, I really must go and start getting ready for New York because I leave on Tuesday and I have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. I know where my passport is, and that's a good thing. So, yes, there's that. Until next time, guys, as always, happy reading.